Hi everyone, and welcome back to Second Rank Fire. As always, I'm your host Ben, and hello Dave, how are you?
Hello. How's it going, everyone? All good, I hope?
I'm all good. Are you all good?
Gravy, I am.
As always. As always. We started with me last week, Dave, so let's go with you. You've had a busy 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's definitely calmed down now. Now real life started to dwindle, does that make sense? But no, so I've done my building, as I will talk about later on. But yeah, so I've done the game, had a game yesterday. Tested out my my doubles army and stuff like that. So yeah, but I'll go more into detail in the progress of the week thing. But yeah, how about yourself, Ben? What I've heard you had a slack week as well, or less
Yeah, I had a bit.
slack.
It's been a little bit slack on my side. It's been quite busy at home and stuff like that. So been running around, being quite
Yeah,
tired and stuff like that. So it's been a slightly less slack week. I've got some stuff done though.
yeah,
Is it easier to start with me for the progress for the 2 weeks? I'll probably be a
yeah. I
lot
think it's
quicker than
probably
you.
one model in it you done.
I've painted 2 models. All right, 2. Um, yeah, I basically didn't meet anything that I said that I'd do. So I did do my cryptic cabin October Orc, so I got that finished, got that out on time, which I was really pleased with actually. Given the colours I had, it's quite a bright but dark model, which makes no sense to say
Yeah,
out loud. But there's a lot of pinks, a lot of blues, but at the same time, it's like a toned down. So it's not like super pink, super blue. It's like a toned down thing. So that was a lot of fun. As this is going out, you can still get them. So if you go into like my bio and stuff like that, I've got affiliate links over to Cryptic Cabin. You can find their October stuff over there. It's really fun. They've partnered with Steamforge this year,
yeah,
and so it's not actually a GW Orc that you get. It's a Steamforged Orc. So they're all quite different. They're smaller in scale than you'd see in typical 40k or AOS Orcs. So there's a lot of detail. It's a resin print. So it's good. Well,
yeah.
it's not a resin. No, it's a resin cast. It's not a print. So yeah, got that one done, and I got my Blood Angel done as well, which came out of nowhere. I never talked about doing it, but I felt like in a bit of a rut, and I didn't want to pick up any of my current projects, so I wanted to get something out and try something a bit new, try some different techniques, and so I had an idea in my head around. I feel like I've been getting really good transitions through sponging.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do was try and take that and take it to my undercoat of the slap shot. So obviously normally you dry brush it. But I thought because I'm getting good transitions between colours, I thought, I'll get the sponges out and see whether or not I can do it with black and white, which I felt went quite well. So the undertones are all the black greys through to whites. That's all sponged. Contrast over the top of those, and then it's like sponged highlights on top. And what I found is I feel like the red I got within the Blood Angel's armor was quite graded quite well. It's a little bit pink in places, but that's just because of the colours that I used. I kind of used the colours that I had to hand rather than anything that I particularly had. Because I don't have a bright red. Apparently, I don't have like a really light red, so I used a mixed pink into the Mephiston red.
Yeah,
I think that's the right one. So I mixed pink into that, so the highlights are slightly pinky. But yeah, I was really pleased with it.
I'm surprised you didn't go like the natural orange route with red and stuff like that for the highlights.
So I could do. It wasn't. It was more to see whether or not I could do it. So for example, if I were to do an Imperial Fist, I would still do the pinks. But because I'm sponging over the top of the contrasts again.
Yeah.
The only thing that really matters is the transitions in the darkest parts, which is typically where you're not getting those paints on anyway. So a lot of the blacker areas. So even if I were using like oranges and or pinks or whatever underneath, in those darker areas, you're not going to see it as much anyway. Because all the highlights are then sponged over. But what it does give you, it gives you an opportunity to see where those highlights need to be, so you know where to sponge over.
Yeah.
So you're actually using that base layer to do the darker tones. And then you're sponging over the lighter tones, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not relying on the whiter highlights of the contrast
Mm.
for the actual end product.
Oh, that's cool. That's interesting to know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something a little bit different. It's something that I sort of had to go at because I noticed when I was doing my sort of dry brushing. Do you remember when I did like the chapter challenge thing where I did all the different chapters?
Yeah.
I found that my highlights they weren't looking fantastic through it, and that's partly me. That's partly my ability to dry brush and things like that. But I found sponging over the top masked a lot of the mistakes that I made. So I could still dry brush and then sponge, which I've done with my orcs. So if my iron jaws, they're all dry brushed,
Yeah.
and then they're sponged over the top. So that armor that I did on them, that's it's masked a lot of it, and so where you got some of that streakiness as well. So this is actually really, really good for Space Marines, where you get streakiness from contrasts or speed paints over large panelled areas. That sponging will get rid of it all.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a fun little technique, and to be honest, I feel like I've got something not a million miles away from glazing without doing any of the pain of glazing.
Yeah. So would you say it would probably work beneficial more on flat panels and stuff like that? Because it's sort of, all right, I may look into that.
Yeah, it's the difficulty, because with sponging it will slightly get into the recesses, which is why it works quite nicely on flat panels. If you've got like furs or things like that, what you can do, so I've been using makeup sponges, just small makeup sponges. They're quite dense, and so when you press them in, they tend to like feed into those cracks. If you use something closer to like a dish sponge, which is a lot more porous, it won't go into the depths as much, and so you might be able to do it. It will look more patchy though. So yeah, the makeup sponges work really well for flat panels.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I did it on everything. So the cape, that was all contrast and then sponge. The face, that was all that wasn't contrast. That was sponge, then washes, then a light sponge over the top of it. The gun was all contrast. There was no sponging on that one. Fair, that might be about it. I used real metallic. Well, I used metallic paints on it, which worked out okay. They needed a lot of washes over it. I'm actually quite enjoying the look of the sort of rough NMM that I've been doing recently. I think that would work quite well with it. But yeah,
so
that's thanks. It's one of the better models that I think I've painted. I don't think it's had a massively great reception. But hey, I enjoyed painting it. It only took me like 2 evenings to do, and I think it came out really nice.
At the end of the day, you're the number one fan. At the end of the day, it went short stuff. So if you like it, so screw everyone else. Pretty much.
Yeah. You're not wrong. It's significant. So for those that don't know, when I started 40k, I started with Blood Angels. It's a million times better than all my Blood Angels back then. Were all just like single color, maybe with a wash over. Like there was no transitions, no shadows whatsoever. So this was kind of doing that, and a model would take me like 10 times longer than this. This took me like, I mean, it's the Phobos Captain, so it's covered in bloody leather straps and talismans and all sorts of stuff. I reckon, I mean, I will try it, but I reckon a Space Marine would take me less than an hour to do in that technique.
Yeah,
I reckon it'd be super quick.
It'll be, by the sounds of it, you'll get a good worn leather look with the sponging effect type thing.
I love how the leather works. So I that's already how I do the leather on my my iron jaws. So that was where I pulled that technique. That's where I started doing that technique, was to do that dry brush, contrast, and then sponging over it. That was the first time I'd really done it to create that leather, and I loved how it looked. So I was like, can I do this on everything? I'm really pleased. So yeah, those are the 2 models that I painted. I've also built 10. That's the right way of speaking English. Yeah. I've built 10. I built 10 more intercessors. So I'm going to try and do like what I did with my chapter challenge thing, but with the sponging effect, and see like compare and contrast, see how quickly I can get them done and stuff like that. So I'm just going to have a bit of a mess around with those. So yeah. I mean, that was quite a mess about phase. I'm going to paint stuff at the same time, but I just want to have a bit of a mess about with some models and stuff like that.
To keep that spark alive, isn't it? By the sounds of it, your mojo cup is a bit empty at the moment for motivation, and that's fair enough. We all been there and stuff like that. And I'll talk about I'm pretty much the same at the moment. So, but I'll talk about my part. But yeah, that sounds good
Yeah.
though. Are you
Yeah, no,
doing the
it's
same chapters in the first batch you did, so you can like
I'm not
compare?
sure. Maybe
Thought
there
that'd
were
be quite
definitely some.
cool.
So I'm gonna try another Blood Angel,
Yeah,
just to see whether I can get the speed, because that's the thing on like an intercessor. It should be a little bit quicker. I definitely do Archangels because they're my boys. And then I guess what else did I do? I did a White Scar, which didn't turn out fantastic. I might try a White Scar. It might be quite difficult to do because she's not using the contrast in there. So I might be tempted to give it a go. The Emperors of the Silence of the Emperor. They could be
yeah.
quite a good one. That's a lot of black and white. God, I can't remember what I did. Ultramarine. I'm definitely going to do an Ultramarine, and then I did a Crimson Fist. Crimson Fist and Ultramarine probably a little bit too similar.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to test me a huge amount there. So yeah, I think I'll mix it. I think there'll be some that I do the same, and some I might just have a bit of a play around with different chapters and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's more to see. Do I prefer that sponging technique? Am I happier? Like I found they were quite dark, quite patchy, but that they were like in the early days of my dry brushing. I think my dry brushing's improved quite a lot since then. So
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, we'll see. So that's what I've been up to. And then in terms of the next 2 weeks, like I said, I'm going to try and get those 10 intercessors primed. Might start to get some paint on them. We'll see. Because I want to record it at the same time as well. I recorded a few of the other ones, so it's good to record it just to sort of like I go back and look at the techniques that I used and things like that. So it's good. It's good for me. I do want to crack on with some of those Iron Jaws. I'm still building that big pig, so I haven't done much on that one. So I want to crack on with that. And I'm playing a game tomorrow as we're recording. So actually, weirdly, I'll have played the game by the time this episode comes out. But as we're recording, I've not played the game yet. The game's tomorrow. So yeah, taking my Space Marines for another little play. So
Sweet.
yeah, that's not too challenging, but I'm just trying to ramp up back into the
Steady.
I'm gonna get into it.
Put your foot on the accelerator a little bit, not too heavy though, as you just burn out quicker. But that sounds good, man. It sounds like you've got easy steps, a nice variety of stuff to paint as well. So going from AOS to 40k and other bits, and improving new techniques because you've learnt more techniques than I have. I've just stick to like an old dog, stick to all the things that I know, and I'm done.
I think it's just I think it's what I've found enjoyment of. So like. It depends on the period. There's like some periods I'm just gonna army paint. Like when I was like really into doing my Space Marines, I banged out like 700 or 800 points of Space Marines in like a few weeks. And then other times I'm like, I don't want to do army painting. I just want to try out different things. And so I kind of get into these spells of like trying out different techniques, trying out different things and stuff like that. So I think just the mood that I'm in, where I am right now, it's I feel it's easier for me to mess about and try new things.
Oh, nice. That sounds good, man. Nice, easy 2 weeks progression. I won't say easy, but you've got a good selection.
There's stuff to do. Stuff to get on with.
And the bar's not high, so right.
That's for the best for me.
So for me, I've had a busy couple of weeks. Starting with I went to the Rally Mines event in Nottingham, the charity event by Simon at Rally Mines, raising money for charity mines and stuff. That was awesome. Good fun. I had a game against his name on Instagram is Big John, Gentle Giant. Absolutely good fun. And he had Imperial Guard, and I took my Tau, and we did like a gentleman's agreement because in the narrative campaign you could shoot other Titans. So me and him thought we'd be stupid idiots. We made a pact to shoot other stuff on the other table with our super heavies only. And yeah, so he went first turn. He took 26 wounds off a Warhound in one shot with his Shadow Sword. It's just insane. Unfortunately, with my Supremacy Suit, everything was out of range, even when I had an extra 6 inches, so like a 10-foot range. I was out of range of everything, which was really annoying. But I stick to the pack, and I didn't shoot his Shadow Sword, but all my other little weapons can shoot stuff, but I couldn't shoot my big gun at its super heavy, which is absolutely fine. So I had a cool day out there. I met so many cool new people. Apologise if I can't remember your name. And apologies to Jade, who did all the photography. I had that brain moment, so I recognise you was on my podcast, but I'm so sorry I didn't come up to you. I do apologise.
Sounds like she was super busy anyway.
Oh yeah, 100%. She was running around like a headless chicken, getting photos, doing recordings and stuff like that. And she did incredible work and stuff like that. And just a big up Simon for organising the event. So yeah, in the run up to that, I managed to get all my Tau stuff built for it and stuff like that, which was playing Tau from a guard perspective is very different, if I must say, because I think I played certain things. I played too aggressively with my stealth suits and my Shadow Sun. They got taken off the board quite quickly, which I realised the hard way with Tau. If you ain't got no spotters, you're pretty much done for. But it was all good fun. We had a good laugh. The table was cool, and yeah. So I just had it was sort of funny. I say he won that game like a minor victory. We weren't really playing any missions. We were just having a slugfest with each other, and the Shadow Sword and the Storm Surge were just slugging it out between each other. And Farsight killed it. Unfortunately, my Storm Surge had one move left, and the Punisher just came around the corner and managed to kill it with a heavy bolter, which is ironic.
Oh God!
And it did explode as well. It did a big explosion, and it pretty much wiped out all my stuff where my stuff is, because it does D6 mortal wounds with everything. It's D6 plus 3 inches or something.
Yeah, it's a big bang, isn't it?
It's a massive explosion. Maybe Ryan could be the other way around, but yeah. So I've done that. Then also had a double game yesterday, which was good fun. The Supremacy suit took a lot of damage, and I got wiped off the table. But everyone just focused fire on the Supremacy suit.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's the big target, isn't it?
We only could get to 3 turns, unfortunately, because we had like a new person on the other side trying to learn stuff as well at the same time, which is absolutely fine, because we're all here together to learn stuff.
Yeah.
So at the end of our turn 3, we just called it there. We won it by 4 points, I think it was. There were like...
Ooh,
it was like 33 to 37. The Crew army did all the legwork and stuff like that.
Of course, yeah.
And I didn't realise Azrael Invon save on his unit is just a beast. He just tank shot.
Oh, isn't it a 4-up Invon is insane on
and
him.
His intercessor guys just literally tanked everything. It should have just deleted that unit, and it didn't, and it was like, yeah. But it was all good fun. That's what my Supremacy suit says for, to draw all the fire. Their side had 2 Ballista Dreadnoughts. The Lancer, is it? I can't remember what one it had.
The Gladiator Lancer.
Yeah, it took 2 full turns of shooting from those 3 things and a unit of Eradicators to bring down the Storm Surge.
That's a lot of punishment.
Yeah, and that's 2 turns of not shooting other stuff. Like, that could, like, especially rampages and stuff like that. They were just deleting stuff left, right, and centre, luckily. But yeah, so it was a good game. My suit weapon did fall off, had a bit of casualty in that, but I'm just glued it all back together now. Which I didn't put enough glue in. It's like only like 2 points.
Isn't it, with stuff that big?
It was yeah. I just did. It's a balance in that, isn't it? It's like, don't put too much, so it seeps out somewhere, and you find it later like a pile of like super glue on the base, or you don't. But so yeah, so I'm pretty much got all my stuff getting ready now. Stick it in, so I don't have to touch it. So for my next 2 weeks, I think. Hang on, just got to look at the calendar. I think that'll be after the last recording. Yeah, so I'll explain that in the other next recording on the 22nd. But for these next 2 weeks, I'm pumping the brake a little bit. I am going Eldari for my next little side project, just to something different. I've literally got Reapers and is it Mongra or whatever, I can't remember his name, is the Reaper Phoenix Lord.
Oh yes, the Reaper Lord, yeah.
Yeah, something raw or something, I can't remember. M's probably going to kill me and slap me with a book later.
Names.
Yeah. It's like big deaf dude. So yeah, I got him as my potentially for my doubles in December, but I'm in no
Oh, cool.
rush to get it done. I may treat myself to when I go to Warhammer World, not to get the other Phoenix Lords. I'll probably get the Falcon there, which I will have in my 1,000 points
Mm,
because that's such a
it's a
cool,
cool, cool model.
iconic model.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed in years.
Oh
It's
God,
like
no.
I think when I started, that was about still. That was like third edition, and it still hasn't changed.
It's like the Land Raider, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
it's like
just
an
timeless.
iconic Eldar piece. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I got that. I'll probably get that in another month, but that's way down the line. So yeah, so I'll probably just do that. I may get them built. I may do some homework to see what type of base I want to do. I want to see if I can find. I like the how GW have done the texture paints and how you can change it up to go from like lava bases and other shenanigans
Yeah.
like that. So I may see if I can find I may come up with a cool backstory like a lava world or something maybe, and just do that and see what I can come up with. And
Yeah, that'd be cool.
and I've got lots of crystals anyway from Gatehouse Gaming, so I may see if I can have like lava crystals and stuff like that, like red crystals
Yeah.
and stuff. But I think that'll be my whole next 2 weeks. Is just to do a bit of homework. Hopefully get them all built. It's only 6 models. I probably should get that done. Like I probably won't glue them to bases because I may want to experiment on like textures and see if I can like
Makes sense.
work out stuff. Then I can execute on my model. I'm trying to work out if I can just rather than like unfortunately with my towel where I've got to spray the base white then spray the model black. I want to see if I can do it from black only,
Do it all in one.
so I
Yeah.
can just do that. Um, then go from there. But yeah, I think like you, my battery's a bit depleted at the moment. Um, with work, I'm like my lack of sleep at the moment from work for the last week was like, or
Yeah.
last month, it's finally catching up to me. So, and yeah, I'm just my priorities are shifting a little bit. I just want to spend a bit more quality time with the missus, you know. Um,
Yeah, fair play, man.
and yeah, that's about it. So just get those built. Probably read a bit of fluff. I'll probably poke one of our guests on here for like Eldar knowledge and stuff like that. And yeah, and just that be me, I think. Yeah, simple,
Nice.
nice, easy
Yeah,
2 weeks,
easy.
hopefully. Right.
To be fair, you've had a super busy like 4 weeks because the weeks before that you were doing like you'd done shed loads, so it makes sense that you've kind of almost done
Yeah,
like your big bulk, and then you can just ramp down a little bit, play some
yeah.
games, and enjoy it for a little while.
I'm not stopping town. So I've just got I got what I needed to paint for the event, and I've got a 2K. It's like if I want to play a 2K at a club, I can if I wanted to.
Yeah,
But I don't think after the doubles, it's like this month alone, I'm playing 7 games this month, which is quite a lot when you think about it. And I feel
yeah.
like
God, it's,
that,
that's my over my yearly quota, Dave. So
yeah,
yeah,
I know. So I've got 7 games this month. I probably won't do no gaming like next month. And if I go to the doubles in December, that's potentially 5 games there as well.
yeah, it's a lot.
So it's a lot of games, and I'm not going to put any pressure on myself and burn out because I feel like once I've done 7 games of Tau, I'll probably pump the brakes with them for a little bit.
It makes sense. Yeah,
Um,
I certainly find like when you hammer through those games, you kind of just like this army just needs to go back on the shelf for a little bit. I'll come
yeah,
back to it, but I'm done with you for right now. I'm going to go and do something else for a
yeah,
little while and do
absolutely,
something fresh.
absolutely. It's like, but oh yeah, I did treat myself to the Hydra thing from Heresy thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
So which I'm gonna convert to have a Hydra in my guard army whenever that appears. I don't know. I need to find a like a just a chassis of a like a Manticore Hydra battery thing, Chimera thing, so I can just stick that
Yeah,
on. Don't get me wrong. I don't dislike the model. It's just not my flavour. Because when I think I'm always in love with the Hydra Forge World one, which unfortunately they
yeah,
discontinued, which was the enclosed canopy, and that's how a Hydra, in my eyes, should be. It's like almost like an AA battery type thing,
yeah.
not
I
like the
completely agree with you.
not like the knockoff ones where you've seen around on Instagram where people get the defense line turret and go, that's a Hydra. No, I'm not
Yeah.
talking about that. I'm just talking about the Heresy version where it's all enclosed. But I don't know how that will compact um, with the Hydra kit, because I don't know,
Yeah.
because the Hydra kit sinks in a little bit then rather than sitting on top, so I need to like
Mm.
do that. But that's like back back burner of a project.
Future.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Long term project.
but yeah, so that's me. So 6 guys, brew some Eldor fluff, and just enjoy a bit of peace for a bit until the end
Yeah.
of the month. So yeah, that's me done.
Sounds
So
like a
yeah.
nice fortnight.
So do you want to talk about give us the title of the subject of today then? Or...
Yeah, let's get. This is a weird one for me because I've talked about on the podcast before. I talked to loads of people about it. I've said for a long time that vehicles are too strong in 40k. So today we're going to be talking about that. But as we've been talking about, as I've been doing research, I flip and flop. So the topic of the fortnight is how strong are vehicles in 40k. Let's go with that. They could be weak,
Yeah.
they could be strong. Let's talk about the virtues of both sides. Let's pros and cons. From my side, obviously, I have sort of talked about it for quite a while. The fact that vehicles are super strong in 40k. They've got a really high toughness. They've generally got good saves. They generally compact with quite a lot of weapons, and their points values. I mean, if you look at like the Ballistus Dreadnought as an example, that thing was super meta for such a long time. Same with was it the Vindicator as well from a Space Marine point of view? Super meta for such a long time because they're really difficult to kill. High toughness, high wound count. All right. So the saves is a bit of a weird one because it's model by model, but we're talking like, I mean, a Leman Russ is what, toughness 11?
Toughness 12, I believe. Bear with. This is
12?
great podcasting. But I know it's got a
The
2-up save, which is better than a Marine tank, I believe.
Oh yeah. Saves are all over the place. The saves are weird ones. But you look at like Dreadnought. I think Dreadnought's a T10 for Space Marines. Toughness 10 for Space Marines. The Sentinel, the armored Sentinel, that's T8.
Yeah.
Arguably, that's probably one of the lowest toughnesses you see in a vehicle.
Yeah.
So if it like for me, this is where my opinion came from for quite a while, is the fact that because they're so difficult to take out, they're so difficult to chip away wounds, there was just no answer for them. So you look at like Laz, you look at missiles, you look at Melter, they're just like Melter's strength 9. Don't get me wrong, when it goes through, you've got like AP4, but you've got strength 9, where most of your vehicles sit at T10 and above. So Melters, which are typically what you look to into the lore, should absolutely cut through any vehicle. I was talking to Dave before. I can't remember which book it was, but there was a book I was reading, and where like there was like a rhino or something cresting over, bringing Space Marines, and there was a guy. I think it was one of the Dark Angels books, I think. And this guy rocks up with a melter and just literally like cuts this rhino in half. But then you're like, but in the current edition, it would wound it on 5s.
Mm.
You know, that just feels weird to me. So that's where I first started. I have changed slightly since then, but
that was quick after 2 days ago.
No, that is my general. There are some definite things against them, as in said that they're not that good. I will throw in the fact that loads of them got 2-up saves. Like a lot of the guard tanks got 2-up saves. Dreadnought's got 2-up save. I think the Armored Sentinel's got a 2-up save. There are exceptions to that. So a lot of the Space Marine tanks, I think the Repulsor Executioner, maybe even the Gladiator, Knights have got a 3-up save. I don't understand why they've got a 3-up save, but yeah, a lot of the sort of vehicles you see en masse, and so like you got like a full armored army isn't an unusual thing for a guard player, right? That's not a non-standard thing. So you've got this army wide T11, T12, 2-up save, loads of wounds. It's like, how am I supposed to beat that when the best I can do is wound on 5s?
Yeah, so I get that. I feel like it's quite a fine balancing act with with weapons and vehicles, because the weapons are quite below par to deal with high toughness stuff. Because when me and Ben were been chatting, there's certain weapons like ridiculous. You don't know why they got anti-tank, but anti-vehicle, and they wound on 4+, but they do 1 damage. It's like,
Yeah.
I get it. It's part of the fluff or whatever. But I feel like they need to go reset the clock, look back, and go, what is anti-vehicle? It's not all weapons are anti-vehicle, so I'm not going to give it to crack missiles. I'm not going to give it to plasma cannons. I'm not going to give it to like whatever other Space Marine weapon there is. You know, I believe like a las cannon and a multi-melter.
A melter, man. It should be anti-vehicle.
I think a
surely.
las cannon's strength 9, isn't it? If I believe
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So rather than, it's not always guaranteed to kill. You say like a las cannon, for example, it's 50. It's almost like a 50-50 chance. So in my perspective, I'll say give it anti-vehicle 4+, or something like that. You know, obviously with melters, if you stick to the fluff, I believe like anti-vehicle 3+, or something like that. So it gives that more oomph, but it will still keep the strength value of it, regardless, because strength value goes out the window if you're wounding stuff on anti-vehicles of 3 or 4+.
Yeah.
Because it's obsolete, because that's just there for if you just shoot like monsters and other things.
Yeah.
But I feel like they should bring like this is going off on a tangent, but I'm going to go with it. I feel like there should be 3 categories for anti. So you've got anti-infantry, anti-tank, and anti-monster. Because in fluffs, as you've seen in the Leviathan trailer, where the Sternguard vet shoots his combi melter at the Karna or the Screamer Killer thing, it doesn't do anything to it. It just wounds it quite a bit. So you can see a melter's only good at certain things and stuff like that, and not monsters. And it takes a ballista dreadnought to fire a las cannon and missiles into it to kill it. So I'm not saying, I feel like there should be 3 categories then it gives a bit of extra flavour of the anti-monster as well, because I don't think I've ever seen anything that can deal with like high toughness monsters, because I think it was, what's the big Nemissary thing? That must be like T12.
Oh yes, yeah. I know the new one.
Yeah. So that's tough to kill. I haven't played one personally, but looking at the stats, that's tough to kill and stuff like that, and it moves quick and stuff like that. I just feel like weapons need to be brought in line with the toughness. Keep the toughness as they are. I'm not too bothered by that. That's absolutely fine. But I feel like weapons need to come up to be on par. Not all weapons, but certain weapons get anti-vehicle and stuff like that to counteract the high toughness, because then people will start bringing more like anti-vehicles, because at the moment you must say it's, especially on the night scene, there's quite a few night armies out at the moment that are floating about, and if you can't deal with knights, then you're buggered, you know. So unless you've themed a list around it, you know, or you've got enough melters to deal with them. But the weapons, I feel like they're lacking to deal with the toughness, where their toughness is quite high. I must admit, it is high, and it's so variant across the field, like you say. Like guard tanks, okay, they're like rugged. They're supposed to take some hits, but when you look at a Space Marine, he's like a super genetic force that should be high. The technology should be superior to guard technology, if that makes sense.
You'd think so. Yeah, they're like more unique, and in theory, each one's kind of delivered by Mars, like made by Mars and stuff, or like a proper Forge World and stuff like that. It's like, do you know what? As I was doing more and more research for this episode, I definitely sat on the side of you. It wasn't necessarily the vehicles, because actually when you start to look into the vehicles, a lot, like, don't get me wrong, the 2-up save's good, but when you look at the weapons that are specifically designed to be anti-vehicle, i.e. melters, las cannon, stuff like that, their AP super high. So you're kind of looking like you got your rocket launchers, which your crack grenades are -2, which still good. Don't get me wrong, but you got like -3 for las cannons, -4 for melter. There's some vehicle mounted stuff that's like -5 if you start to get to like night weapons and stuff like that. Again, their strength is super high. It's high enough, but yeah, you got like -5. Actually, if you can get through and wound, you see, I think those vehicles disappear quite quickly. Most of them don't have an invul save. Knights, I guess, are kind of one of the key ones, but they've only got a 5-up in against shooting.
Yeah.
So you take like decent Thunderhammers. Thunderhammers are your prime knight killer. If you can get into combat with Thunderhammers, you're going to do a shed load of damage because it's got a good AP. There's no invul there, flat damage. Chain fists, they've got anti-vehicle. They'll like cut through like most of your vehicles. If you can get into combat with most of the vehicles, they'll go down relatively quickly. So yeah, that lack of invul, it affects them quite a lot. They've got high wounds, but not mega. So yeah, I then defaulted to the weapons. I was like, well, okay, so now you're wounded on 5. AP's good. Then the other thing I noticed about almost all of these weapons is the fact that they're all variable damage. They're all D6, and some of them might be D6 plus.
Mm-hmm.
When you get into like the vehicle side of weapons, so you take like the Rep-X, for example, the big 2-shot cannon on that. I think that's D6 plus 6 plus 8. I can't remember what it is. It's D6 plus something good. So when you get into the tank based weapons, they've got good damage. But again, multi-melter, if you're not within melter range, D6 damage. A crack missile is what, D6 plus 1 damage. Your las cannon is like D6 damage. It's so luck based, and
it's not
your melters have got limited range.
You know,
right? So yeah, you look at your melter. So you got what, a like 16-inch range, something like that. So you can't get the melter range if you deep strike them in. So they've got limited range, which means that you're trying to put your anti-tank quite close to that tank. You're wounded on 5s. Your AP is good. Happy days about that one. We'll carry on with that one. And then you get D6 damage if you're not within melt range. Or best case, you get like D6 plus 2.
Yeah.
So best case, with a melter shot, you're doing 8 damage against most vehicles who have got double figures. It's the weapons, isn't it? Because like in reality, you're getting 5 damage within melt range. Statistically, outside of melter range, from a melter, you're getting 3 damage per. It's mad. It just feels not good enough.
But the thing is, I know we play this game and we know it all goes down to a dice game, unfortunately. I can see where you're coming from. Would you say, how would you balance that though? Like, how would you feel what's fair damage output with a melter should be? So if you get rid of like the melter keyword, that way if you're on a short range you get +2. So what would you say the average, not average, but fair damage output a melter should do to a vehicle? Not just to a vehicle itself, but just to a damage output from the weapon itself.
On average, it feels like sort of 5 or 6 mark per shot should feel good. Because the thing is, damage doesn't carry over between shots, right? So it's not like all of a sudden it makes it super strong against infantry, because all it's going to do is do like 6 damage into one model, and you're like, cool, that melter's just melted that Space Marine. You know, it does. Like, there's plenty of people who have painted it. There's plenty of stuff in the fluff which talks about how much damage an infantry thing can take from a melter. So it feels like around that 5 or 6. I'd increase that strength, or like I think your example is perfect. Give it that like anti-vehicle 4-up or something like that. All of a sudden you're getting a lot more reliable damage, and when it goes through, it matters. Because for me, when I'm taking a vehicle, at the moment, would I say that I'm scared of melters on like eradicators or something like that?
Not really.
I'm not bothered. Like, it's 100 points. I'm like, yeah. Maybe Eradicators was the bad example because they get reroll hits, wounds, and damage. So actually, their output is a lot more reliable. But you take it on like Devastators, or you take them on like Guard and stuff like that. I'm kind of looking and going, I don't care. like you're going to be lucky to get through. Like on a guardsman, you're not hitting on that. Like fours, right? Fours, is it for,
Yeah,
hit for a
fours,
guardsman?
maybe threes if you're
Yeah.
got first rank take aim and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll pop smoke, so there's -1 to hit because I can do that as a
counters
vehicle
that,
for
yeah.
a CP. Yeah, so why not? And then all of a sudden you're sort of hitting on like fours, fives, and then you're wounding on fives, or even sixes potentially if you're going up to. Is there anything? No, there won't be anything that'll got that high toughness without going into Forge World. You're wounding on fives, fives into fives. I'm just like, well, you've only got like 1 or 2 shots. I don't care. You carry on. You waste your points on taking that. I'm not that bothered by it. Like other vehicles, I'm more concerned by. That's for sure. If I'm going up against knights or something like that, I'm a lot more concerned there. But in general, like those weapons, when you're looking at like 8th and 9th edition, where I was like, damn, I really need to take that out. Now I'm just like, no, I'm not bothered. Like missile launchers,
they don't have that fear anymore now. Because it's like when you said in 8th and 9th, you had to like eliminate if you was a tank heavy army. It's like where it was exactly the same in 3rd edition, because most tactical marine squads, if you stick them in rhinos, they always had a melter in them because you just zoomed them forward. Back in the day, you could jump out, charge at the same time, and stuff like that, and shoot and charge. They had that intimidating factor because certain armies had more melters than others. So like fire dragons back in the day were quite terrifying when there was only 5 of them in a falcon, or if you were that broken, you took 10 in a wave surfing and you just zipped them up the board, jump out, and that was almost by tank back in the day.
Yeah.
Well,
you pop your tank, then you use the rest to shoot the people that fell out, right?
Yeah. Or if you're lucky to do
whatever came out.
It's like with Bright Lancers back in the day. It's like if you had armored 14 at the front, like there's Land Raiders or Leman Russ battle tanks, the Bright Lance reduces your armor value to 12. You know, because it was a cool, unique keyword. I think it was like strength 8. I think the Bright Lance was, and to like do damage to it, or if you hit and you wound it, you need to get a 5 or 6 to penetrate, and that was quite terrifying. We saw like 3 wave serpents zipping around with twin Bright Lances, and your guard army, you made sure your tanks were hidden or they couldn't get an angle and stuff like that. So you had to use the terrain to your advantage. It is, I believe they need to do more to the weapons to make it terrifying, because I don't want them to reduce the toughness of how tough vehicles and tanks and titans are, because they should be like brick houses to deal with.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be the threat, and stuff like that. But just tweak the rules a little bit so weapons can only certain weapons. Like, remember grav cannons back in the day, where if you had a 3-up save, they use your armor value against you, so they wound you on 3s and stuff like that.
Did they do extra damage? I think in 8th. I think in 8th they were D3 damage unless you had an armor save of better than 3, and then I think it went to like D3 plus 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly that. Like they grav.
They were the thing back in the day.
Scary. They were terrifying.
Centurion
dropping a unit of 5.
In a drop pod.
Centurion Devastators. And yeah, they were just terrifying. They just appear and just like, oh cool, that's just a tank just gone.
Yeah. I feel like they've missed a step with all that stuff. It's quite a fine balancing act with the damage output. If you don't want to give a more steady output of damage from a weapon, I believe all weapons should have a steady output anyway. It's all down to luck and stuff like that, you know. I know they're trying to keep it all balanced because somehow a Marine heavy intercessor, if you're that bad at luck at rolling, I know we've had days like that where we've rolled like 3 1s. So you've done 5 wounds, so okay, that's D6 per 1, brilliant. I've got to kill 5 Marines here, and suddenly you roll 3 1s, or you roll a 2 and a 1. That's like 1 guy dead.
You roll a 1 and then you roll a 6, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
That's killed 1 guy. What?
Yeah, exactly. this is where I think splash damage should come to 40k to make it.
Ooh,
I
interesting.
believe so anyway, because one, it makes the game quicker. Two,
Oh yeah, it does.
where the points are so cheap on stuff nowadays, it's ridiculous. It's like,
We've talked about this a lot, haven't we?
yeah,
Yeah.
you have more models on the table, and splash damage over. It works so nicely for AOS because it does. It makes sense because you don't expect a troll to charge in and just twat one guy. You expect a troll to come in and just swing his
pick
club.
you particularly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
not
like you.
sweep,
You got a
sweep
fluffy
across.
hat. I'm gonna twat you on the head with a log. But and from the AOS perspective, I know we're going off a tangent again. I'm quite known for this. When you look at monsters in AOS, they're terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
They are, yeah.
And I know, I don't know about you, that when I play it, I envision it in my head in what it's doing. It's like, I don't know if you've seen Total War trailers and stuff like that, where you see like the big monster come in and it just swoops in and it looks...
It's like that. It's like the scene from Lord of the Rings, isn't it? From
the Wraith
the original
thing,
battle where
yeah,
it just comes in. It's like
yeah,
just flies
absolutely, and that's how it should be. And especially with monsters in 4K at the moment, I don't find they're terrifying enough in monsters because we all got that friend who loves Carnifexes. I've got my mate Will, he loves his Carnifexes, but they just get taken up so quick, and they're like especially like Carnifexes, for example, using it for example, it's supposed to be like a living battering ram. It's supposed to have a high toughness and good save to take the shots. But then it's trying to not bring back in the meta chasers again. It's like, well, this time he's doing really well, like the Eldar, and the other stuff's falling down. It will be tough, but I feel like it needs a hard reset, I believe now, because it was good at the start where everyone's on equal terms with the codexes, indexes, and now where all the codexes are coming back out again, it's just tipped majorly. And I don't know why, because AOS are doing it perfectly. All their tomes are very balanced, and it's okay. Maybe it's some power creep in certain armies, but not majority of them, because every army can deal with every army, if that makes sense. 40k is in a weird place at the moment because of where the tanks are not tanky, monsters are not scary enough to be worried about. Melters are not scared. Any anti-vehicle weapon that should be anti-vehicle is not terrifying. It's like when you used to fire a las cannon back in the day. Oh crap, it's got to friggin' do me in. It's like, I'll tank it.
Yeah, fine. I'll tank it. I'll hit it. You probably won't wound anyway, and if you do, I'll stick my Temmarine next to it. I'll just
what toughness
through it.
It's fine. Oh, I'm toughness 13. Oh, great! I need 5s. Brilliant.
Well, the problem is, it's not even like I'm toughness 13. It's like I'm toughness 10, and you're like, I need 5s, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
that just seems mad.
Or
like,
add
what words are melted? Yeah.
Or add keywords in there, like if you into the weapon profile, like if you aim at tanks or monsters, for example, you get +1 to wound, for example, or something simple like that. Just it doesn't have to be like the anti-vehicle keyword. It just that little 2-sentence line in a profile. If you add a weapon to that unit,
+1 to win against vehicles and monsters, easy.
That will solve everything. Yeah. Keep the random dice damage. That's fine. I know people will go, well, you can't do that. It's a dice game, and blah blah blah.
But you can up that plus. For me, that's the thing. I'm not bothered about crack missiles, melters, las cannons all being D6 plus something.
Yeah.
What I want is that plus something to matter. Whereas you look like a crack missile now, it's D6 plus 1 damage, and you're like, cool. So there's a chance you're going to get 2 damage, and I am. So you're hitting on 5s. Well, no, you're not with a Marine. Let's go for a Marine. You're hitting on 3s. You're wounded on 5s, and now you might do 2 damage to me. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not spending a command point to re-roll that save. Whereas previously, in like 8th, there were certain times where I'm like, oh my god, a las cannon's got through. I have to spend my command point on re-rolling that save because that save will make or break this game. Now I'm just like, yeah, let it through. I don't care. I'll just go through it. You just don't care. Like, you just like, genuinely, those sorts of, it matters for like I say, there's like the big night guns. There's certain things. Monsters, I feel like, is a really interesting one because I think monsters pale compared to vehicles. I think monsters are even worse. Like where there used to be splash damage, or where they used to have like multiple melee weapons or things like that. Where the fact that they've gone to, you can only use a single combat weapon.
Yeah.
And maybe use their extra attacks thing. Actually, you kind of like, they're so focused in one area. Whereas you look at like a lot of the vehicles these days, and actually they've got, like, I mean, any Space Marine new vehicle, any Primaris vehicle has got like 1,000 guns on it. So it doesn't matter because you can shoot in any different direction.
Yeah.
You've got weapons that can kind of do everything. Even when you look at like the Land Raider and stuff like that, it's got its 2 sponsons, it's got its top mounted, it's got its little front one, and then it's got its main gun. A lot of guard tanks have got like 4 or 5 different profiles on it.
Yeah.
Your monsters have kind of got one. It's very rare that you ever see like a Tyranid. Oh, I can't remember what the shooty one, like the shooty version of the Carnifex.
Oh, the
Tyrannofex.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Again, it's compared to like a Space Marine vehicle, you kind of like, well, they're like chalk and cheese. Like, what's like? Don't get me wrong, they can be really good and used in the right hands, but like, for somebody who's like coming in new into it, you're getting a lot more reliability out of a vehicle, out of like a Space Marine tank, than you are like a Tyrannofex or a Carnifex or something like that for the comparative points value.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think monsters are almost weaker again.
Yeah, they're the bottom of the food chain at the moment, I think. I feel like monsters, especially their melee attacks, they should be able to attack with all weapons. If they've got like Cyber Talons, that's very posh of me.
Talons.
It should be like, they should have some extra attacks to make them more special in a way, to make them worth it. Tanks have got all their weapons and stuff like that, so they can shoot in and out of combat if they're not blast.
Yeah.
If they're blast, they've got to shoot out of combat, and they do suffer the -1 a hit, which is fine. But most people will just take it, or find an ability to counteract that thing of -1, so it negates it anyway. Yeah, so I feel like it should not bring monsters tough as a tank per se, but make them at least like toughness, I don't know, say toughness 9 or 10 at least minimum.
Oh, 100%. For me, they should match the toughness of tanks and vehicles and stuff.
You
like
reckon?
If they're at that point, if they're at that points level, and that's kind of like, if you go and read, like, you've read Devastation of Baal, but for those who haven't, if you go and read Devastation of Baal, when they talk about Carnifexes and things like that, they're like shrugging off huge amounts of it because they're like their carapace is super super thick. Like they make it equivalent to like tanks, and so for those big chunky stuff that's supposed to be like that, that's got massive front armor, putting those at the same toughness as a tank, yeah, more than happy. You need to make them scary again. Like, monsters used to be super scary. Like when Crusher Stampede came out in 9th, I think that was where Crusher Stampede was first seen. That was terrifying.
Especially when you had 3 Carnifexes in a brood, and that was like, oh crap.
God,
and I must say they did have one cool thing. It's called Living Battering Ram, when they do like mortal hits when they charge into a combat and stuff like that. And for me personally, when I did NIDS and stuff like that, I rarely gave my Carnifexes any shooty weapons. I just gave it like Adrenal Glands, so it gained advance and charge, and just blitz forward and go, you got to deal with me. And I feel that's the only way you can pretty much use Carnifexes at the moment, is to like throw them in the face and go, look, and stick them in groups of, I think they come in groups of 2 now, because they reduced the, I believe so, don't quote me on that, but
Crusher Stampede ruined Tyranid monsters because it was so powerful when it first came out. It just steamrolled everything. So it wouldn't surprise me.
And they've got probably one of the coolest range. I think they're mainly the only range that has the coolest monsters.
Oh, big monsters, yeah.
and you can go nuts. It's like if you, especially is it the horror effects, the big snappy like sniper
Yeah,
guy. He's quite
yeah.
cool. I love the claw hands, like the classic Morlocks, where they just keep diving up and down and stuff like that. You can go nuts, and I feel like out of all the armies, they've stayed true to the NIDs and stuff like that to make it. But I just feel like because where they're the only army that doesn't have vehicles, they suffer quite a lot in a way. I feel like there's only one model in there that could potentially stand up to a knight. It's the Norn Emissary type model
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That's the only model I believe that can stand up to a knight potentially and get stuck in. I reckon all the other stuff just gets shots off the boards. Like if you've got
Yeah, they'll suffer.
the Castellan, not Castellan, but the biggest knight they have, and I think the harpoon.
I just know it's a tyrant. I know which one you're talking about. I know the chaos
with the
terms for it.
shoulder cannons and stuff like that. They just get shot off the board, and I do feel sorry for him. It's like, oh, it's like there's my big Gribbly's gone, you know, and that'd be quite a cool, iconic battle scene where like Nids are like wrestling with big robots, and it's quite chivalrous with knights trying to take down the monsters and stuff. It's like David and the Goliath and all that stuff. Stuff. But yeah, I feel like tanks are too far up. Monsters at the bottom of the chain, food chain still. Metal weapons in general. I'm not saying all weapons, but weapons in general are just a bit meh. It's like when you find blanks at stuff. So when 11th edition comes, I really hope they don't change stuff too much, but tweak areas and stuff like that. I don't feel like it'll be a major tweak to reword some profiles to have some things in that, and I'm sure the developers should be able to bring monsters back up. They don't have to be on the same level as not like the highest knights or something like that, but make them at least tough as 10 or something to make them scary. Because we've all seen the trailer for Leviathan, and when that big screamer killer came out of nowhere, it was like, oh shit, you know, and it took a tank, it took a vehicle to deal with a monster. And
that's what it should. Yeah, it should.
But it's like when you look in games perspective, infantry can deal with monsters easy. It's like, where's this marrying up to? It doesn't marry up. Because
I think I'm in a weird spot because where I used to think vehicles were super strong and they were crazy good. I actually think vehicles are in a relatively good spot. Don't get me wrong. Some of them could be helped by having a bit more oomph in melee. The idea of some guy just coming and punching a tank and doing a wound to it blows my mind a little bit. But I think vehicles are actually a really good spot. And I think the only reason in my head they were elevated was exactly what you were saying about guns, the weapons. I think the anti-tank, the reduced anti-tank that can be taken by infantry and things like that, bumps tanks up or bumps vehicles up. I think in reality vehicles are probably in a good place, which is very different from what I was saying before I did any research for this episode. I definitely felt like tanks were up there, but I think having a conversation with you and looking through the data sheets and stuff like that, those anti-tank vehicles, there's just no fear.
There's hardly none there that have the anti-keyword, or it's just the random stuff that has the anti-tank, anti-vehicle keyword.
Korvax hammers for Ravenwing for some stupid reason.
Yeah, don't get me started. It's like I think the most, going back to Space Marines, I think the most iconic close combat weapon is the classic Chain Fist, and I think that does have the anti-keyword, anti-vehicle.
That does have the anti-vehicle keyword.
They've done something right there. They've done that one right. Yeah. That's nice. But
does hit on 4s though, so they suffer that because they hit on 4s.
But if you do Oath of Moment and it's the Avenger of the First, you get +1 to hit, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh yeah, you can get around it. They are scary. If you can get Terminators with Chain Fists or Thunderhammers still really, really good for it. You get Thunderhammers, Chain Fists into vehicles, they're terrifying. They will tear a vehicle apart. They will do their job. They do it quite well. It's the same with actually when we talk about monsters and things like that. when you get those into vehicles, because they're set up to take down one model, they're genuinely really, really good at it. And so but a lot of it is that theme of, if you can get into combat with the vehicle, you should be able to do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you
absolutely.
can't, otherwise you need a knight, you need a vehicle. Like it kind of, it forces you to take that, which, don't get me wrong, is not necessarily the worst thing. Like, forcing you to have a dynamic force and having vehicles within it to be able to counter vehicles and things like that it's a good thing, don't get me wrong. But then you have skew where you get knights, and if you're coming up against knights, if you're not taking multiple vehicles, then you're going to struggle unless you've got some gimmick, which they do exist. But yeah, you kind of get those skew lists that do really, really well. So I think knights is the prime example of it. They're a skew list. They're all really, really high toughness. They've got the invul against shooting. They're really good at shooting themselves, and so typically, if you like take my list for example, it's got one tank in, it's got the Repulsor Executioner into it. If I go into a knight list, if I'm unlucky and that gets shot off the board first, I'm going to really, really struggle against that list, because I'm then relying on pure luck. I'm relying on numbers to really get through a knight, rather than being like, yeah, I'll take like 6 tanks against your 6 knights, and let's slug it out. Let's see who goes first. So yeah, skew lists exist, which make it a lot harder. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. That was a bit of a tangent, but
yeah, it's the norm for us.
My opinion of vehicles has changed quite a lot, and it's what can take out a vehicle that's not good enough. There should be more of that. And I think you hit the nail on the head, giving them +1 to wound or giving them anti-vehicle. Anti-vehicle is a strange one, because if you manage to pair that with devastating wounds, all of a sudden you're kicking out a shed load of mortal wounds, which is quite different, because then you're eliminating their good save that they've got. And so actually, it depends on how they can do it and how they can eliminate those little gimmicky things.
The way they can get around that gimmicky, the only way I can think of is give it +1 to +1 to wound or something, and that would just.
It feels like
that's the easy solution. Because I didn't think of the devastating wounds. You devastate wounds on a 4-up, and that's just savage. No one wants that. You know?
Oh, it's a lot more. Oh, yeah, that really brings vehicles down, because all of a sudden you're like, oh, cool. Now I don't have a save at all. Even those with invulnerable saves, all of a sudden don't have it whatsoever. And so actually, where you get like your guard tanks and stuff like that, all of a sudden you're just going to see loads of things that dish out mortal wounds to tanks, and you're like, that's not okay. Like,
that swings the pendulum too far to the other side, and I feel like don't give the anti. I feel like the anti keyword should be removed anyway. I feel like they should just simplify it. Say +1 to wound to vehicles if it's in whatever weapons it is, +1 to wound against infantry. If it's like a combi weapon, it seems to be quite a common thing. Combi weapons are anti-2.
It's fairly
like an anti-2-up weapon now. Just give it +1 to wound against anti-infantry, and if they ever brought out anti-monsters, +1 to wound to monsters for certain weapons, which could lead in hands with potentially anti-vehicles, maybe. Just say anti-vehicle / monsters.
Do it at the moment. There is anti-monster, because I think that's what the Korvax hammers do for the Raven Wing. They are anti-vehicle and anti-monster 4-up.
Yeah, so rather than having
they do exist, but
like vehicle and monsters separate, I know they are different entities in themselves, but if it says like tank / or monster, then just get +1 to wound. Simple. It will just cut out all the trash. It won't kill people's mojo in the game, because everyone doesn't that's like, for my example, my heavy rail cannon. If I manage to get a 6 to wound on the heavy rail gun, that's 16 mortal wounds. That is a big pill to swallow. It's like, I'm so sorry, and I will be like that as well if potentially I do at doubles, when I one-shot someone's tank off the table, I'll be like, I'm so sorry.
But for big guns like that, I do think stuff like that makes sense. I wouldn't get I quite like devastating wounds. The idea of the fact that it punches so hard that it will do that. Can you imagine? Because that's the thing. If you like against tanks and stuff like that, 60 mortal wounds, you're like, that's a bad day. I'm having an awful day here. 60 mortal wounds into a unit of intercessors is 8 dead intercessors off the bat. But that for me, well, I go back to like the narrative way of thinking about that massive great rail cannon. Basically, it's been shot in such a way that it's just punched through 8 intercessors.
Yeah, it's like a mini crater,
the
like
one
a
round
mushroom
has
cloud
gone,
that's come up.
Yeah, it's like literally just torn them in half. Like this round has just destroyed them. So I wouldn't be against that for big stuff. Like I'm not against devastating wounds in general. I just think if you were to find a way to make it so that you obviously most devastating wounds happen on a 6, or if you're lucky you can get the things that make it happen on a 5 and stuff like that. But then you get ones that are like anti-psych at 2-up and devastating wounds to the unit, and you're like, I can't remember which one it was, but I'm pretty sure it paired up with like the Custodes guys who had heavy bolters, and all of a sudden, like if you had the psychic keyword, they were putting out like 30 mortal wounds.
Yeah,
like,
I believe Grey Knights are there as well. They've got quite a lot of anti-psych stuff as well in certain bits.
But yes, it's where you're putting up devastating wounds with anti 2-up, anti 3-up.
Yeah.
Like all you're doing is guaranteeing mortal wounds, which just
It sucks.
that stops
sucks
you
the
from
joy,
taking
doesn't it?
things.
Yeah.
Well, you're not. All of a sudden, you're like, I'm just not going to take a psycho because there's too many combos out there at the moment, which makes that just impossible. So I'm just not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch a psycho because of that. Which I think is bad for the game. If all of a sudden you're saying, I'm not taking that because there's too many counters, that shouldn't be how the game should be, like at all.
Not at all.
You should be free to take whatever you want.
Yeah, which they've got down to a T. I must say, Judo have done that really right.
It's better. It's much, much better.
But I feel like they need structure again. Because, as I've said in the past, I've never taken a battle line unit ever. Because, why? Okay, so
I take intercessors, and we all know why I take intercessors. But that's it. Like, before now, I wouldn't. Before, honestly, the second game that I played with them, they all just got destroyed.
Oh, no.
It was pure luck. But like, unless there's a gimmick, why would you ever bother taking most of them? I guess they changed it with some of the missions, because some of the missions you can only do with battle line, right? So they made them a little bit stronger.
Well, I think now it's I think battle lines can do. I may get crucified for this, but I'm not really sure. But see, that's why I don't have battle lines, because I don't really know. I think battle lines can do an action. I think it's a secret mission or twist. They can do an action and still shoot, if that makes sense. But it's only battle line units.
Yeah,
I believe that's only one. I believe they can do like two
makes
things.
Sense that they could do extra, but like, I know what they were trying to do, but if you're trying to do that, go back to the force organisation charts that you use for 8th and force people to do it that way.
Don't bring in the old like fast attack or like so you get more fast attack options or all that crap. Just bring back
I didn't mind the detachments. What I minded was the fact that every single guard army had about 40 command points, because they were just like, I'm just going to spam this unit because they're like 20 points for a whole unit, and I can just have 1,000 command points. And you're like, what's the point in command points at that point? There's just no point. You've got more than you're ever going to need.
Yeah, so I think that could be another subject for another day. It's like, should GW go back to force orgs or whatever?
I didn't mind them, or how they use them. I didn't like, but because they do it for like AOS. Kind of does that now. That you have to take certain units in certain organisations and
warbands, isn't it? Is it warbands? Warbands?
I can't remember what it's called, but
yeah, and it does bring a sense of balance to it, because it not restricts you, but makes you build a list around the detachment, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not asking detachments to be like give you special rules or whatever, but it will keep you in the boundaries, so you can't go over 6, say fast attack for example. It's like each detachment needs a minimum. Like, there's always a HQ regardless. Then if you have a half fast attack, you need 2 fast attack units, and job's done. Then your heart's content, you can go nuts if you want heavy support, elite troops or whatever. But
do whatever you want, yeah.
Yeah, but in my hearts of hearts, I don't think GW will ever go back down that route again. Because
I don't think they will.
because one, people don't like it because they feel restricted and they can't take what they want. That's the main thing, and GW have always said it from the get-go now in 10th edition that you can take whatever you like. Don't care what it is. You can take a Warhound, you can take a Reaver in your big games, and you can, because you've got the model and we want you to be like a free spirit. You can do all what you want and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like we've shocked ourselves with the conclusion of this subject, where it's like we both agree, I know, shock horror, on that it's not vehicles issues, it's weapon issues, I believe. I think we've both come to the same conclusions.
Yeah.
And monsters should be souped up. Because I'll class them as vehicles, because there's only one army that doesn't have monsters. Tanks is NIDs, so I'll class them as tanks.
The Tyranid tanks.
Absolutely. Imagine a NID Lehman Russ tank. That'd be terrifying.
I mean, G Steel Course could do it, right? So
yeah,
you used to be able to do that, right? Didn't you? You used to be able to ally in Gene Stealer Court Lehman Russes into into a Tyranid. So you used to be able to take Tyranids with Lehman Russes.
Yeah, it was terrifying, and it's like what? Like,
yes.
It's like a battle cannon coming your way, or there's like Griblies coming forward. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I feel like we should end that subject on.
I think that's about all I've got to say. I think that's a good conclusion. So
absolutely. So did you want to talk about who or what happening on our next episode? You think you know?
Yeah. So next episode we've got Stibio coming back. So for those of you that have listened to a lot of the old First Rank Fire stuff, Stibio's been on a few times. Is now a recurring guest. He was the first person back onto First Rank Fire when it came back. So Stibio's going to be joining us. Just because he's been on the podcast quite a lot, we're going to change it up a little bit. So he's going to be like a special guest. So we're going to talk about his love, and we're going to be focusing quite heavily on Ultramarines. We'll still talk a little bit about Stibio's background and stuff like that. So we'll do a post sort of asking if you've got any questions for Stibio, or you've got any thoughts about Ultramarines and how Ultramarines are treated by GW and stuff like that. So there should still be a post if I remember to put that up.
Yep.
Stibio is coming back. Super excited. We love Stibio over here. He's one of our favourites.
Memory lane, isn't it? Memory lane.
Yeah. Always have a laugh with Stibio.
Third wheel in this relationship.
He's been on this podcast almost as much as I have. So and the fun one is the fact that he doesn't even have, he's anonymous on the internet. He is just Stibio. So when we film that one, there will just be a little avatar of Stibio in between us rather than his face on YouTube.
Really?
So yeah, he's completely anonymous. I've been speaking to Stibio for years and I still don't know his real name. I've not met him.
Did we have was I here for Stibio? Did we have him as an interview guest?
No, I've only done his First Rank Fire. So he was, I can't remember what he was like one of the early-ish ones in the original first season of First Rank Fire. And then when I came back and so when we came back, started doing Second Rank Fire, I did a few episodes of First Rank Fire. He was actually the first guest that I interviewed on my own when I came back from my break from having a baba.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he's not been on with you yet.
Run for the hills, go.
you get to chat to the Scouser that is Stibio for the first time.
I just called him Stig because we don't know what he looks like.
He is the Stig. He's the Stib instead. So yeah, he'll be on the next episode. He's a lot of fun. So definitely tune in for that one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
And hopefully you all enjoyed this episode. Obviously, Absolutely. I'll do the standard spiel. If you did enjoy it, please like, subscribe, comment. I've really enjoyed some of the comments on the previous episode. I've got to say.
That was hilarious.
We've got some comments on YouTube and stuff like that. It's just, I won't go into it, YouTube. But it's do you know what? It's been really good because. Let's do a little tangent now. Obviously, we slated Old World quite a lot, but throughout the episode, we talked about the fact that there are definitely going to be pockets of people, and thankfully, those pockets of people have come out and been like, "No, we love Old World." For me, it's been really nice to see because I was really worried that Old World was just dying and was just gonna die a death, but actually, there just seems to be not around us, Dave. There just seems to be some really
know,
nice
right?
pockets where there's a lot of popularity with it. So
Yeah.
it gave me a little bit more hope. So keep commenting, please do keep commenting, because
Yeah.
it's quite funny. Because obviously we slated Old World like anything. I did the whole clickbaity cancelled thing. That was purely to try and get people to come out. We talked about it in the episode, the fact that we wanted people to come out and say how much they love Old World and how much it's thriving, and that's exactly what it's done. So yeah, please keep coming out and telling us, because if there's some groups that play Old World around me or around Dave, I want to get into it. If I have more time and more money, I'd absolutely want to get into it. Obviously, I've got my Cathay army starting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely, 100%. So yeah. So where can they find you, Ben?
So I'm First Rank Wargaming on Instagram. Dave, you are
Dave_Hobby Corner with some underscores in between.
Yeah, mine's all got that underscore stuff on as well. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Cheerio.